and we had our first firefight at that point in time.
The firefight was brief but intense, and an omen of things to come. Johnston ordered the patrol to disengage and pull out.
They were already running low on ammunition. We had sustained no casualties, but we had killed 10 insurgents.
It was a turning point where both the Mahdi militia and the coalition forces had been operating under a common understanding, both geographic and with rules of engagement. And once that was broken, we were kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop.
There was a weird feeling in the jaw. We knew fighting could break out at any minute.
As hostilities rose, 2 more Marine units were sent in to beef up the coalition presence in Najaf. The first was the 81mm mortar platoon, led by then First Lieutenant Lamar Brashears.
We supported that battalion with indirect fires. And as a provisional rifle platoon, doing regular grunt stuff.
The second unit was led by John McDonald, and they were well armed.
I had an LAV platoon, which is a light armored vehicle. We had 4 LAV-25s and 1 LAV logistics variant. The 25s all have a 25mm Bushmaster chain gun on top, which is a machine gun. And I had 32 Marines and 5 vehicles.
For the next 2 days, they joined patrol rotations in Najaf. On the night of August the 4th, Marine patrols observed attacks on an Iraqi police station, but the insurgents were firing from the safe haven of the exclusion zones. Marine hands were tied.
They knew we wouldn't get out of our vehicles. They knew we wouldn't enter the cemetery. They knew we wouldn't enter the shrine. They knew we wouldn't even shoot at them because we wouldn't want to damage these religious sites.
Under the rules of engagement, the Marines had to wait for the local Iraqi government to request help before they could intervene.
That police station was attacked again and in greater force. Probably about 300 Mahdi militia members that were attacking it. Increased mortar fire, increased RPG fire, really coming in on the station.
At 7 a.m., Major Kobe Moran finally got the word. The Iraqi governor had authorized the Marines to defend the police station. While Moran's company moved in to take back the police station, Brashears' 81mm platoon was sent to secure Revolutionary Circle, a strategic crossroads.
It's that big traffic circle in the middle of town where all the roads intersect. If you control that area, you control all the roads and all the travel down those roads.
McDonald's LAV platoon was also sent to the circle to help.
They wanted my vehicles there because we have pretty much the most firepower other than the tanks, which weren't there yet.
McDonald moved his men into position. Suddenly, heavy fire rained down from the direction of the cemetery. The Mahdi militia had the traffic circle well targeted, and they hit with surprising accuracy.
Lieutenant McDonald was hit by enemy mortar shrapnel that went through his arm and had a few of his Marines wounded as well.
Fortunately, their injuries were superficial and no one left the fight. The troops immediately returned fire, but the enemy retreated into the adjacent cemetery, which the troops couldn't enter.
Exclusion zones are tricky. The rules of engagement state that the enemy's using the exclusion zone to fire at you, return fire back. We did not attack into the cemetery initially because it was an exclusion zone.
At that point, we were facing probably between 200 and 400 Mahdi militia fighters that were in both the city and the cemetery shooting at our units.
That was frustrating, because we could see him, we could engage him, but we couldn't really go after him yet.
Soon, a command decision was made. Major Moran received new orders. On the authority of the Iraqi interim government, the Marines could now do more than just return fire. They could go on the offensive and enter the cemetery to drive the Mahdi militia out. But they'd need air support to do that.
We immediately called in our helicopters, Cobras and Hueys.
The helicopters were critical eyes in the sky over a complex battlefield. They provided close air support and intelligence to ground troops. A UH-1 helicopter began firing at targets in the cemetery.
Ooh, there's a container there. It was doing really pretty low altitude gun runs over the top of the cemetery. And it was receiving huge volumes of small arms fire.
Suddenly, the helicopter was hit and began reeling out of control.
I heard a loud thump up on my right-hand side. I looked up the road. About 200 to 300 meters away, a UH-1N Huey had just crashed.
The crash site was on the road between the cemetery and Revolutionary Circle.
We're moving out. Let's go.
Obviously, the first thing that popped into everybody's head was, oh no, another Black Hawk down.
Now it was a race to locate the downed chopper.
None of us wanted burning American equipment on CNN, Al Jazeera, with Iraqis dancing on top of it.
The Marines got there first, but it was an ugly scene.
Didn't think anybody was going to be alive inside of the helicopter.
They shot at the enemy soldiers who were approaching the scene.
The platoon physically shot, I think, 4 or 5 Mahdi militia members. They were getting very, very close to the downed Huey helicopter.
Amazingly, all 4 crewmen had survived the crash. The pilot, co-pilot, and 1 crew member were evacuated. But the crew chief stayed behind to disable weapons and radios, then remove all the sensitive equipment. Sergeant Nelson Martinez and his squad helped out.
The whole time, while we're doing this, the enemy's still shooting at us. So we're trying to pick up the radios and trying to cut wires, and you can hear the rounds impacting on the helicopter itself.
Once the Huey was sanitized, the Marines picked up where they'd left off, trying to drive the Mahdi militia out of the mosque and surrounding cemetery. The Iraqi government authorized a further escalation of the battle plan.